Hello, viewers. I am your host, Osama, once again, and this time with the fourth football podcast of Sports Banter. So, as you know, that the Euros 24 they are finally over, and Spain has been crowned as the champion of Europe. So they had a match against England on 14th of July in Berlin Olympia Stadium, Germany, and they were able to win that match 2-1. So just a quick summary of match. So in the match, Nico Williams scored right in the start of second half after a very competitive first half in which the score remained nil-nil. So Nico Williams scored in the very beginning of second half, and I guess around 80th minute or so, uh, around about 74th or 75th minute, Cole Palmer was able to equalize. And then in the 88th minute or 89th minute, Mikel Oyarzabal, who was a substitute of Spain, he scored the winner, and hence Spain was able to win the match 2-1. And so we have plenty to talk about. So with me, I have my panelist football experts. On the top left, we have Nofel, and on the bottom, we have Raz. Hello, boys, once again.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
Nofel, you were pretty adamant that it's coming home this time around, and this time it's England who's going to win. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. So, where did it all go wrong?
In life, sometimes things happen. Sometimes you take L's, sometimes you take losses. So if things are going smooth, sometimes they just break apart. So England was doing really good last match, and it seemed like they had kind of gotten their flow and they were in form, and Southgate finally knew what to do. But it seemed like he just forgot it all in this match. So the quality of the football that they played was horrendous in my opinion. And the only reason they got that one goal is because of Palmer, who I was supporting, as you guys know, since the not the start, since the last podcast. Um, I don't know what happened. It's just Spain is a better team. They played a lot better. They retained their form and the form that they were playing with throughout the Euros, and England just completely forgot what they had to do. And it seems like they also didn't have a lot of shots, a lot of chances towards the goal too. But Spain was making chances every other minute. Lamine Yamal had really good chances that were either stopped by Pickford or the defense of England. But I don't know what happened. It's just I feel like they just completely lost the plot and they lost the game, and they couldn't even get that. The only reason they got that other goal is because of Palmer too. So I feel like there's not a specific point of the match where it went wrong. They just started the match terrible, and they kept going with it, and they tried to rely on their individual skills. Southgate did, but turns out this time the better team won. I'm in support of Spain winning because they were the better team on the field. If England played better, I would have supported them a little better. But the better team won, and I'm completely okay with Spain winning.
Okay, okay. So for us, up here we have the official lineups of Spain and England right in front of us. So the first question was that is any manager gonna make any unusual changes? Specifically from Gareth Southgate's point of view, we had this question that is there a possibility that Ollie Watkins will replace Harry Kane in the team, or maybe a proper conventional left winger would start instead of Bellingham or whosoever has been playing on the left wing. So there were no changes. So do you have anything to add in this regard? Were the lineups correct, or there were one or two players who should have started in place of the existing players, either for Spain or England?
Yeah, I think we discussed it earlier as well that Southgate most probably won't make any changes because obviously they had won the semi-final. But after watching the match, I believe Spain's left wing was pretty much non-existent, and there was little or no threat from anyone on that side because Bellingham was mostly free roaming around in the midfield and up top. So, but I guess this was expected because in a big game, I don't think Southgate would have taken the risk of changing anyone in the starting lineup.
Okay, okay. So, Nofil, now I would like to come towards the performance of Harry Kane specifically. He is the obviously the captain of England and the talisman, and obviously the arguably the best player of the current England crop.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he wasn't able to perform up to the required standard or what is expected from him. Obviously, he
Yeah,
had goals and he has been tied for the Golden Boot as well. But again, those
yeah,
probably came out of nowhere or they weren't out of some extraordinary play on Kane's part or England's part. It's just that they were.
uh-huh,
So where do you think that it all went wrong for Kane? What were his individual deficiencies as a player, and what were the
uh-huh.
deficiencies of overall team that they weren't able to support Kane?
Well, you said that Harry Kane wasn't able to perform as we expected. But to be honest, that is to be expected because Harry Kane can never win a trophy. He is incapable of winning a trophy, and because of that Harry Kane luck, that is what got him to perform so bad in these tournaments. Because if you look at Tottenham, they always lost because I mean Harry Kane would perform amazing, but they would lose at the end. And if you he went to Bayern, same thing happened. He performed really good. He got really amazing goals. But what happened? They lost for the first time against Leverkusen. I mean, against Leverkusen is an amazing team, and they have really good players. They're in amazing form. But that Harry Kane luck is what got to them. To be honest, I feel like it might be something to do with the mentality as well, because he has so much pressure on him regarding not winning trophies, and he has to win a trophy or whatever. He put that much pressure on him, and he just couldn't perform. But I feel like overall, it's just the Harry Kane curse. To be honest, I can't even say anything else about it because he's been performing decent throughout the tournament. But in the finals, he chokes because he's Harry Kane, and he is destined to do this forever, in my opinion. I feel like he should be taken off of the England squad. He should have been kept in on the bench, and they should play him in the first few matches, and then in the finals, don't even keep him on the team. Keep him in the reserves because he's gonna bring that Harry Kane curse to him. So I don't have any what do you call it arguments as far as performance goes. It's just what Harry Kane does. That's what he did at the end. So yeah, we can't really pinpoint any specific thing. I feel like it's a mentality thing, and the whole world is against Harry Kane winning a trophy. So that's what happened.
Okay, okay. So Praz Nofil believes that Harry Kane's performance was fine or decent to say the least. It wasn't something like bad or so or below average. So Nofil thinks that Harry Kane's performance was fine. But if we look at the XG chart of this final match, so Spain remains above England in the XG chart throughout the match, apart from the first, I guess, 10 minutes in the opening 10 minutes, where the XG is pretty much zero for both the teams. And if we look at the rest of the 45 minutes for the first half, so we can probably say that, okay, England kept Spain in check. And we were able to see that on the field as well in the first half. Spain wasn't able to carve out open chances or you can say easy goal scoring chances. It looked like a pretty much fair game, or you can say equal game. But in the second half, as you can see that Spain takes a entirely different trajectory and the XG difference that increases. And by the time Mikel Oyarzabal scores, at that time Spain's XG is around about 1.77 and England ends at 0.55. So if we see the XG chart, that is the which is an actual indication of the performance of the teams. If we see this, then we cannot say that it's a Kane curse. It's obviously a bad performance by the team overall. So what have you got to say in this regard?
Yes, as the XG chart suggests, the first half wasn't the most exciting halves to watch. Spain had the most of the possession, but they were a bit lackluster in the final third, and their crosses were also not so much on point. But yeah, as you just mentioned in the second half, I guess the timing of the first goal was pretty good from the Spain's point of view because it was right after the start of the second half, and this I believe possibly psychologically impacted England as well because it was right after the start of the second half, and apart from that, as you just mentioned, that Kane was subbed off I guess around in the 60th minute.
Yeah.
So Watkins and we can't pinpoint that Kane was the only reason. Watkins had enough time to make an impact, but I guess England just weren't incisive enough in the final third, just overall.
I'm not blaming Kane's performance. I'm blaming him as a curse on the team. That's what I'm blaming. He just makes the whole team play worse in the final. That when it matters. So that's what I was blaming. Just to
Okay,
clarify.
we'll come back towards your argument. I believe that England played shit tournament throughout. I mean, of course, they reached the finals, but I never saw proper convincing football on their part. But let's just come towards the tactics for now. So this is one particular screenshot where Spain is attacking England, and all the whole teams, both England and Spanish teams, they are currently in the English half. So one of the major themes that we saw in the first half was that England tried to man mark the players. Out here, we can see that Ruiz has the ball, Fabian Ruiz has the ball, and there's Bukayo Saka who's marking him, and upwards on the left hand side we have Williams who is being marked by the Kobe Menu, and then on the other side we have Danny Olmo who is being marked by Luke Shaw. And on the other right flank, although Carvajal isn't that much advanced, but still uh, Jude Bellingham, he's keeping a check on him. So in the first half, there was this common theme that England tried to keep a check on individual players. There was this man marking. So, Fraz, this is my question from you. So, in the first half, England were successful in this man marking system where they were able to contain Spain up to a point where Spain couldn't carve open chances. But at the same time, while they were able to execute the defensive duties perfectly, they weren't able to like generate enough attack to score or something like that. So out here, I have a question for you that was this enough on Gareth Southgate's part? I mean, given the squad available at his disposal, obviously he has done enough to contain the Spanish side. He is doing enough from defensive point of view. But again, I believe that this squad should be going out all in on that Spanish side. They should be attacking. So, do you think this was enough from Gareth Southgate, or should he have done more?
Yeah, yeah, this was certainly not enough. I guess all of us know that Southgate is primarily has a defensive mindset. So this wasn't something new from their side that they are defending deep and man marking the players well. I guess the talent that England had on their disposal, Southgate should have utilized them well enough. As you can see, they didn't really utilize the bench that well as well. Gordon and Bowen they hardly got any minutes, and which is why, and I guess they should have used either one of them because the left wing was pretty much. I'm repeating my point that the left wing of England's side wasn't utilized that well because just because they were accommodating all these central players, uh, which is why they didn't really have that pace on the flank on one of the flanks.
Okay. So, Nofil, now I would come back towards you. So, Faraz highlighted some important points, and one of them was that Spain's left wing wasn't utilized properly where Bellingham was playing. And
Mhm.
that he talked about the fact that Southgate should have utilized the squad in a better way. I mean, the potential they had on their hands, the players, the squad itself,
Yeah.
the talent available, they should have done better. So out here, I
Mhm.
have the screenshot from the match, a snapshot from the match. And out here you can see England in a rigid 4-2-3-1 shape. Rice and Menu, they are in the holding midfield position. And then we have Foden
Mhm.
CAM position, Bellingham on left wing, Saka on the right wing, and obviously
Mhm.
Kane up front. So out here, if we can see, so Laporte is having the ball. And just to mention that Laporte, he has had the most line-breaking passes in the tournament out of all the players, including midfield
Mhm.
defenders. So Laporte, as you can see, as I mentioned, that he has been one of the best passers in the tournament, especially the ones who break the lines. So out here, he's having the ball. And if you see Kane,
Mhm.
he isn't pressing him, and even Saka isn't pressing him.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Now, from coaching point of view, if you are giving one of the best passes in the tournament, one of the best ball playing defenders in the tournament, that much time and space on the ball, isn't this criminal?
I mean, it for sure is. I mean, I don't know what Kane was doing. He's just he's an attacker. He should be pressing him at that point. And I feel like, to be honest, when he did the subs for Kane, Kane should have been subbed off early. He should have brought in Watkins because Watkins has the pace and he has more of an attacking mindset compared to what Kane is doing right here. They should have limited Laporte's passing for sure regarding that, and they I didn't see England attack as good as they did in the previous game. They weren't pressing, they weren't attacking, and when you do that, of course, you're going to give somebody like Laporte the chance to pass and then create chances from the back. So yeah, I mean, again, like you guys said, Southgate wasn't able to utilize his squad. He has an amazing quality of squad of the players that he has at his disposal, but he never did the subs. He did what, two subs throughout the match, and he did those around the 60-minute. And I think I don't know if he did subs after that because it doesn't really matter. The game was almost done already. So he should have brought Watkins in before, and he should have brought in. I would have agreed. I agree with you that he should have brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold too, because I don't think Kyle Walker was playing his best in this match, to be honest. And they should have brought in more attacking mindset players that wanted to play. And Palmer could have been brought in earlier too. I feel like Southgate is. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know why he didn't utilize all of his subs and the players that he had on the bench. I feel like it's good that Southgate has resigned, and
Okay.
hopefully gets better.
We'll come towards the resignation of Southgate later. So currently we are talking about the tactics. So Fraz, now I would
Uh,
like to come back towards you. So out here, this is a snapshot from the first half, the one I'm showing you. So as I mentioned previously that England deployed these man marking tactics. So out here, if you can see, Foden is marking a Spanish player, then Declan Rice is marking a Spanish player, and similarly Menu is marking Spanish player. So on the midfield, it's like 3 versus 3. All the players, all the Spanish players, they are in check. And on the attack, if you see, Morata, Williams, and Yamal, all three of them are being marked. And similarly, even if you see at Bellingham and Saka, they are trying to keep a check on both the fullbacks. So it's this man marking system. But again, this was the first half. Okay, we can give credit to England and Southgate that okay, they were able to contain Spain through this strategy, whatever you're gonna say. But again, in the second half, De La Fuente changed the system. He shifted from a 4-3-3 to 4-2-3-1. So no, I will come towards that slide in which the system was changed. So in the second half, as I said that De La Fuente, once Rodri was injured, De La Fuente changed the system. And out here you can see, now Spain is obviously taking towards the right-hand side. And now you see two holding midfielders instead of one deep lying midfielder in Rodri. So, and similarly, England is just using their man marking tactics. And out here you can see that Bellingham, who is now playing in the central midfield after the subs were made by England. And now he's marking the Spanish player, but there's this other Spanish player who is Fabian Ruiz, and now he's free in the middle of the park. So this is where De La Fuente made the changes, tactical changes, and got one of the mans in midfield free, and hence Fabian Ruiz was able to impact the game in a sense that he was able to make more progressive passes and more passes in the final third, and even he was able to carry the ball towards the final third. So this is where De La Fuente won the coaching battle, personally, I believe. So what's to say in this regard? That okay, England made the changes. They brought on Palmer and Watkins, and they were able to put on a goal back. But still, despite scoring that goal, they still never gained the control of the match because after England equalized, Spain became even more dominant. So what do you think about this coaching battle?
Yeah, so first of all, when we got the news that Rodri is injured and Zubimendi is going to replace him, then I guess most England fans and commentators were pretty hopeful about the match, and they really thought that England would win this tie. But as you just mentioned, after tweaking the formation a little, Fabian Ruiz was the free man in the midfield, and he was able to roam around and make passes quickly. And I would reiterate again that the timing of the goal really psychologically impacted the England mindset and the tactics that they were repeating after the first half. And after bringing Watkins and Palmer, as you just said, that even if after scoring the equalizer, England never really looked that they were going to dominate and they were going to score a second goal. The momentum was always with Spain, and they were the ones who were attacking throughout the second half. So that goal was, I guess, more like an individual brilliance from Palmer.
Mm.
It didn't really shift the momentum uh, towards England's favor.
Okay. So, Novel, coming back towards Spain once again, specifically Spain. So, we have talked plenty about the likes of Lamine Jamal, Nico Williams, Rodri, Laporte, and we haven't even talked
Mm.
about the goalkeeper in the previous podcast. So, out here we have the player named Fabian Ruiz. And a lot
Mm.
of football experts and pundits have said that he is the unsung hero of the Spanish team. I mean, Rodri took all the limelight,
Mm.
being the player of the tournament, and the likes of Jamal and Nico Williams as well. But he has been the
Yeah.
silent who has been making this team click. And he has played multiple roles as well. He has played in the midfield three, in a midfield two as well. And if we see his qualities, he is comfortable in possession. And then he had
Mm.
1.3 passes per game. And then he has even averaged 4.6 progressive passes per 90 minutes. And then he has bypassed the midfield line 41 times. And if you see his passing
Mm.
in the 4-2-3-1 formation that Spain played in the final, so you can see that a lot of what Spain was able to do, it was through Fabian Ruiz. I mean, he seems to be the
Mm.
central or focal point. Obviously, Rodri is there as well. He's their primary holding defender, but slightly ahead of
Yeah.
the field line, it's Fabian Ruiz who has been making sure that things are clicking for the Spanish team. So what have you got to say
Yeah.
about this lad who plays for PSG? And obviously he was dropped during Luis Enrique's time. He was totally out
Yeah.
of, and then De La Fuente came in and he brought him back into the national side. And now
Yeah.
he won the Euros for Spain.
I feel like Fabian Ruiz as a player, I mean, the performance he's put up, even though, of course, he's not going to be in the limelight because you have players like Rodri in your squad, which are going to take that. But be honest, this is a player that is considered a clutch player, in my opinion, because when Rodri went I mean, he was subbed out, he was injured. It was kind of bittersweet for me because, of course, he's a City player, so I don't want him injured. But um, I thought that England was gonna, of course, triumph in that case, and he was gonna basically there's gonna be a gap in the midfield. But Fabian Ruiz comfortably took over that role, and he basically led Spain to a victory. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with him and his club situation, but I feel like what the performance that he's put up in the Euros, that should advocate for a bigger part in his club. And they should, whoever is going to be, I don't know, who's the coach right now at PSG? I don't remember. But he should be looking at this and a lot closely, and he should be putting him in his squad more often than he did before. And I feel like a player like him is a high caliber player that can perform in intense and pressure situations. But again, you also have that thing where some players perform really good internationally, but they don't perform as good in the clubs. So with the Spain team, it's amazing right now, but we don't know what they're going to do when they go back to the clubs. So hopefully he can keep up this performance when he goes back to PSG. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as far as the Euros go, he's been a clutch player. He's been amazing. He took over Rodri's role, and he took over the game for Spain as well. So hopefully he keeps his form up when he goes back.
Okay, Firas, so just a quick question from you. So do you think Fabian Ruiz, he will be getting a move away from PSG or anything like that, or he'll stay there?
Yeah, I, yeah, I was actually hoping that he gets linked to Arsenal, but I don't see. I currently don't see Arsenal signing him. But yeah, he also, I was looking up at the stat that uh, for the most times possession won in these Euros, Fabian Ruiz won the position 46 times, and then on second it was Rodri with 41. So, as you just mentioned, the stats that you just showed that he was uh, he has been really underrated throughout this tournament, and he's rightfully getting all the plaudits now once this is over.
Yes. So basically, thing is that in the two-man pivot, Rodri plays as the deepest lying midfielder, and Fabian Ruiz plays slightly advanced. And again, Rodri's role is to just recycle the play, make ball recoveries, tackles, and stuff like that. And while Ruiz's role is that of Rodri's as well, but again, Ruiz has one additional role that he has to advance the ball as well. I mean, he has to break the lines and carry the ball. And given his role, he has performed it very well. And we saw continuously in the match against England that where he just made one tackle, took one quick turn, and then advanced with the ball at his feet. So let's hope that Rodri stays in the Spanish side for the years to come and becomes a star under Luis de la Fuente. So now I would like to come towards the first goal that Spain scored. So this is once again a snapshot. And the first goal obviously was in the second half. And out here you can see Zubimendi, who actually started the play. And out here he passes first of all to Ruiz. And then Ruiz is the one who passes to Lamine Jamal. And Lamine Jamal finally passes it to Williams and he scores. But out here in this snapshot, the important thing is to see is that Olmo slightly drifts towards the left-hand side, towards Walker's side. And when he drifts towards that side, now Walker has two players to look after. I mean, Williams and Olmo. Ideally, Saka should be coming back in this situation to cover up for two players, but Saka has Cucurella to look after. And again, this is the thing we were talking about that as a coach, when you are Gareth Southgate and you are giving such strict instructions that, okay, this is your man and you have to man mark him, at some point players do become rigid and they are like, okay, that this is what coach have asked and we cannot move away from this. And out here it happened so that obviously there would be some zones and Walker was supposed to look after the zone. And once Olmo moved out there, so and when the ball reached Jamal, now I would show you the uh second snapshot from the same area. So now what happens in the next move is that once Lee Norman gets the ball, he passes it to Jamal, and now as you can see that Danny Olmo drifts towards the central area. And when he drifts towards central area, you can see that Walker is moving alongside him. And when Walker moves with him, now obviously Williams is wide open on the left wing. And this is how goal was created. And obviously Jamal passes out there. Now out here we have two things to talk about. So for us, I'll have a question from you. So as a coach, when you are Southgate, so do you think that such rigid man marking instructions should be given to players? I mean, where they don't have any freedom to make any unorthodox decisions while they're on the pitch, because in this play Walker should be tracking Williams instead of Olmo, but obviously he gets straight into tracking Olmo and that's where goal is scored. And secondly, let's say that Gareth Southgate gave that freedom to the players that okay, these are your mans that have to be marked, but in case there is an extraordinary situation, you have to switch your man as well. But still, Walker, given the player he is, because obviously we know he is not the best at positional defending, but he doesn't use his brain at that very point, and he moves with Olmo. So is this a coaching mistake or an individual mistake out here at this point?
I don't think the tactics of Southgate are that rigid that all like the man marking is so strict that the England players don't have to leave that their man at all. I guess it was just a brilliant move from Spain, a really quick move from Spain, and Walker obviously should have done better. But we have seen in the past as well that his defensive positioning sense, and maintaining a defensive line is uh, he isn't really good at that. We have seen this in the past as well, and I guess it was a brilliant move from Spain, and it really shattered England because I guess they were a bit the second half just started and their body languages must have been uh, and I guess it was the perfect timing to score a goal.
That players should support each other. So like Walker, since he made that mistake, Saka should have come up and helped him out, right? Do you think? What do you think about that?
No, I guess the move this move was pretty quick, and
That's true. Yeah,
yeah, and
you're right.
I guess Walker probably couldn't make the right decision at that point of whom to mark.
Hmm.
So yeah, guess
Makes
we
sense.
should welcome Muktada.
Yes, Muktada, welcome. Welcome on board.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We are good. We are good. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing good. Alhamdulillah.
So, viewers, we have this special guest, Muktada, on board with us today. So he watches football as well, and he's a keen football supporter. He wasn't able to join us in the beginning because of some professional duties, but he's here with us now. So welcome, Muktada, to the podcast. So we are discussing the Spain versus Euro match, 2024 final match. So we'll continue our discussion in this regard. So currently we're discussing the first goal of Spain and how that goal was scored. So there was this brief tussle between a Manchester City fan and Arsenal fan. The City fan was claiming that although it was Walker's fault, but the Saka or the Arsenal guys should have tracked back to help him. So,
Even Declan Rice, you know.
so while you have just joined, so what's your say on this goal? I mean, was it purely Spain's brilliance or uh, bad defending on Walker's part, or just bad coaching on England's part?
I mean, I wouldn't take it away from Spain, to be really honest. They've very, very good since minute one. So I wouldn't take that away from them. I think that Walker could have covered better ground. He could have, stepped up and basically closed the gap sooner than what he actually ended up doing. So it was just something on Spain's part with playing very good since minute one, with like racking up the pressure, and then England not being able to perform. Because on paper, to be really, really honest, England has been the better team. But when we talk about someone who should have a lot of drive, they should have a lot of they should put in the effort. Because being on good on paper doesn't mean that you're actually really, really good on field as well. So they lack the drive. That's the first thing, the first and foremost thing that I can think of, that England were not there. Like mentally, they were not there. And Spain was far, far superior in comparison to, England when it comes to their mental game, with racking up pressure and then making sure that they were always on top of the situation.
So, boys, obviously, Muktada was talking about the fact that despite the match being pretty much fair up until the end of the first half, and for the for the major part of the tournament itself, England was just a fairly good team. It was like they never shifted that gear, or they never looked like that side that could actually go on and win. So with this, I want to bring up this news that Novel obviously brought in the very beginning, that Gareth Southgate has resigned as the English manager. It looks more of a sack to me. It's just that FA would have been like, okay, इज्जत से आप निकल जाओ तो बेहतर है, वरना हम निकाल देंगे. And Gareth was like, okay, I resign. So this brings us to the end of this 6-year reign of Gareth Southgate. And if we look at the pros, he was obviously able to manage England in two of the finals and two of semi-finals. So on paper, it doesn't look like that much of a failure. It was a pretty good period, especially if we compare with the previous England managers like Sven-Göran Eriksson, then Fabio Capello, and then the likes of Sam Allardyce and many of the interim managers that went in between. So definitely we can consider that Gareth Southgate's reign was way better or miles better as compared to the other English managers. But still, as Mukta said, that if you look on the squads, especially on paper, England had far superior talent available at their disposal as compared to Spain. And not only Spain, I believe that they had a far superior squad as compared to the other favorites like Portugal. Maybe France was equal to them, but even if we compare their squad to the likes of Italy, it was better. So now coming towards my question, Nofil, I would like to ask you that what are the reasons for Gareth Southgate's the term ending? Like, where did it all go wrong for him? I mean, two finals, two semifinals, but still it feels like that it wasn't that much of a good period or one that fans would fondly remember.
You know what they say about that saying that it's the hope that kills you. So, like, he brought us to the semifinals and finals, but we always lost. England always lost against any team, to be honest. So it's been like this since Southgate came to manage England. So I mean, he was good as far as managing the players and getting a good squad on paper, but he wasn't able to deliver. So at the end, it's the delivery that matters. What he could bring to the table. He brought semifinals and finals, but that doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things. As long as you don't have a trophy in your hand, um, it doesn't really matter. You can ask an Arsenal fan about that too, right? So like they always come second, third, but as long as they can, if they can't win a prem, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter how good the squad is playing and everything like that. So what do you call it? I feel like Southgate. I don't know. I don't think he was suited to manage such a high quality of players. They need a little more tougher hand, somebody with a more attacking mindset. To be honest, I don't know who could come in to take fill in his role. Maybe Pochettino. He's a decent player. He's a decent manager. I don't think he has a job yet. Maybe him. They, oh, we're also talking about Pep joining too, but again, he's a City manager, so I don't want him leaving City. Um, so they need somebody with a more attacking mindset, somebody that can deliver trophies and come in through the clutch moments and actually attack when they need to attack. So it's a good decision as far as the FA goes. It's a good decision for Southgate to leave because they need a change. They have a really good generation on their hand. If they waste it, then it's going to be the biggest missed chance of England football.
Okay. So Mukta, now my next question would be from you. So who do you think would be the biggest beneficiaries of Southgate leaving? I mean, the players.
I mean, I wouldn't say that they, in particular, like somebody actually ended up benefiting from him leaving. The reason behind that is if you look at the previous years that England has had good squads. So we look at 06, 04, they had the likes of David Beckham, Gerrard, Lampard, Terry, and they had a pretty stacked squad. So star-studded squad, like 11 out of 11 players, the best of the best. But did they deliver? The answer is no. So it's not just the manager's fault. I wouldn't pin it completely on Southgate and say that, you know what, Southgate was not able to deliver. It's on the players as well that you have a very, very heavy and stacked squad. You've got Harry Kane, Saka, Phil Foden. You've got so many good players and you've got such a good team that can win any tournament if they put their mind to it, if they deliver, if they want to deliver. So I wouldn't, fully put it on any player. And I wouldn't say that, X, Y, or Z player actually ended up benefiting from it because I see the same thing happening over again that happened at the start of the 2000s. With like you have this squad that is promising, but they're not able to deliver.
They are not able to deliver. Okay, so Fraz, Muqtada believes that there would be no beneficiaries of Southgate's departure, but personally, I feel like there were some players in the squad who were, I can't say personal favorites or like super close to Southgate, but still they started over a period of time constantly despite average or slightly above performances, and in rare cases, below average performances as well. So, and we can't deny that managers do have their slightly favorable players or slightly better suited players for their system. And we have been talking about the likes of Gordon and again Palmer as well and Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. So these are the players who have been constantly being under talk that okay they should have started or maybe the performance would have been better if they had come on a bit earlier and stuff like that. So do you think just like Gupta said that there would be no beneficiaries, or do you have any different opinion in this regard?
Yeah, I agree with the part that you can't really blame solely the manager for the finals loss or the Euro exit, but I also agree with you on this one that he did have a few players that he favored. For example, Calvin Phillips, and I
Yeah,
believe he even mentioned that they haven't been able to replace him fully. And obviously, Trippier, the likes of Trippier and Walker, they started more frequently than Trent Alexander-Arnold in this England lineup. Although I do believe that Southgate was a good man manager, he also managed some of these players in the England U under 21 squad. But the talent that England has right now, I guess he wasn't able to utilize them properly. And I believe in the next manager, as England, sorry, Nofil just mentioned that they should appoint a really good world class manager that can utilize this England squad properly and bring a trophy.
I feel like the young talent is going to benefit a lot from Southgate leaving because if you look at the past, he's been stuck on a few players. Harry Maguire, the defender, who plays Harry Maguire? And what do you call it? Henderson. He's old. He was playing in Saudi and now he's playing in the Ajax, right? But Henderson, Calvin Phillips, nobody plays Calvin Phillips. Manchester City loaned him out because they didn't need him in the squad anymore. So definitely the younger talent is gonna come to the limelight, and finally they're gonna get some spot on the team. Hopefully, if the manager is good, because Southgate was definitely a blockage.
Southgate was definitely a blockage. So Nofil, the King David Raya, he won the Euros tournament, finally an Arsenal player on the winning side. What have you got to say on this one?
How many how many games did David Raya start? How many games did he start in the Euros?
Let's
Did he?
not go there. Let's not go there. I mean, King
What do you
United.
mean? He didn't play one game. He didn't play. He won the tournament from sitting on the bench. It's like Calvin Phillips winning the treble. He didn't do anything, and he still has the treble with him for just being part of the team. So there's David Raya. He might be a good goalkeeper in Arsenal and stuff, but he has no part in Euros. And in my opinion, he should not get that medal. But again, he's part of the team, so he's got to get a medal. But he hasn't played one single game. So I don't know why the King David Raya won the gold medal for this. He shouldn't. He doesn't deserve it. He shouldn't be able to get a medal. But it is what it is.
Okay, so Murtaza, it's just getting a bit out of pace. So just a quick question from you before we move on towards the next topic. So this was just a quick banter, nothing against David Raya. There's this mini Manchester City versus Arsenal tussle that I time and time again paying again and again to just have a little fun. So here's the question for you. So we have two top CDMs in the world right now, namely Rodri and the other one Declan Rice. So let's say you are making a Dream 11 or a World 11 and you have one spot for a CDM in a 4-3-3 formation. Who are you going to pick? Either Declan Rice or Rodri? And for what reasons are you going to pick?
Okay, so it's a fairly simple answer, and that is I will pick Rodri any day of the week. The reason is that, Rice, as good as a player he actually is, he still has to prove himself. I get it. Yes, he was very good in the Prem. He delivered, and he actually added to the overall quality of the squad. But when we talk about Rodri, he is something that is just completely different. He's very good with his positional awareness. He's very good with the counter attacking. He's very good with like intercepting any plays that are being made by the opposition attack. So he is by far at this point in time, when we compare him head to head with the likes of Declan Rice, above and beyond. So there's no comparison in my eyes. Can Rice get there someday? Maybe, yes. But at this point in time, who would I pick for my squad? It has to be Rodri.
It has to be Rodri. Okay. So for us now coming towards the team of the tournament, so obviously we have a majority of Spanish players out here, Williams, Jamal, Fabian, Ruiz, Olmo, Rodri, and Cucurella. But there are two or maybe three surprise inclusions from my end personally. So we have Manion, and Saliba as well. I mean, France got eliminated way before in the tournament. So what have you got to say in this regard? Were there better choices or are these justified?
I think I saw someone else team of the tournament. I don't remember, but and that was pretty much close to
This is UEFA's team of the
yes.
tournament.
This is the official one, but Saliba, I guess, probably because France, I guess they didn't concede up until the England game. Uh, but as you just mentioned, they didn't go that far. But it's the team of the tournament. We have to select the players that perform well for most of the part, or else we could just select the players from the England and Spanish sides. Uh, I don't really know why they got in Musiala there. I guess he was good for the first few games, but uh, and Walker is there as well.
So you feel like apart from Saliba and Maignan, Musiala and Walker, they don't deserve to be there as well.
I mean, I won't say they don't deserve it, but that's a bit. I guess their positions are a bit debatable.
I mean, if we talk about the performance of the players themselves, regardless of how far their team progressed in the tournament, so from that point of view, if we see Musiala, he performed very good in the matches Germany played. He was like head and shoulders above the
I
rest.
think Havertz was also in that position. Havertz would also be a better shout.
Yeah, we can definitely have a debate. But again, Musiala is out here in this team, UEFA's team. So, Mukta, my question is for you. So, we have Walker out here, and Walker has been constantly criticized over the course of the tournament for his lack of positional awareness. Obviously, he has one very good attribute in that space, and he has been excellent for City as well, and he is currently City captain as well. But do you see his selection justified for this tournament, or do you think that Danny Carvajal should have been there instead of him?
Sorry about that. Okay, so I personally believe that Walker was not like there was a bit of stuff that was still lacking. He was always caught offside, like out of position. He could have done much better. So this was not his tournament. So I myself am a bit confused why he was actually picked, even if we talk about like individual performance. So let's say that this was picked on individual performance with like certain players such as like Saliba being part of the squad or Musiala being part of the squad. So even if we're talking about individual performance, Walker still does not make the cut. And there were players such as you pointed out, Carvajal being one of them, that could most definitely have been a better pick. So I'm not entirely sure how they actually ended up making the selection and what their criterias were, but it's just confusing.
Okay. Nofil, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So I
So,
agree.
yeah,
Oh,
speak
I
up.
was gonna say. Okay, so I was gonna say something. Okay, so Walker, of course, he's an amazing player for City and England. But again, I agree with you guys that it wasn't his best tournament, and he didn't play the best that he usually does. And Carvajal would be definitely a better option. But I would definitely agree that Musiala deserves to be in there because you're comparing Musiala to Havertz. Like, come on, Musiala is a top class player compared to Havertz. He just plays. Havertz plays so scrappy. If you look at Musiala and how he plays, dribbles through the defense, you can't even compare them both. I feel like Musiala definitely deserves to be in there, and I definitely disagree with that. But I agree that Walker shouldn't be there. Carvajal should be there for sure.
Okay. So, Fraz, I think Nofil took the Harvard's claim a bit personally. Although I agree with him, Musiala was better in my eyes, and according to what I saw.
But for the center forward position, I don't think Musiala plays a better role than Havertz. In that very position, I'm talking about.
But still, if you compare Havertz to Musiala, like, come on, that's like comparing like a Ferrari to a Fiat, I guess, a Honda Civic, right? Like, चलती तो है, ठीक है, चलती है, लेकिन Ferrari जैसा काम तो नहीं देती. So like that's the thing. Like, who would you rather watch and have them
यार
on your team?
इस तरह तो फिर वो और भी प्लेयर्स थे, एम्बापे को भी रख लेते हैं।
ये Mbappe was a
So
pure
Mbappe,
tournament. Mbappe तो नजर ही कहीं नहीं आया.
yeah, he was injured. His nose was broken. Like, how could you expect a player like with an injury like him to be performing? You know, that's the thing.
Okay, so Fraz, just cool down. It's just a podcast. I mean, nothing to be serious about. Havertz is a good
All
player.
right, guys,
Mhm.
I gotta go though. So
Yeah, sure,
see you
sure,
guys in
sure.
the next podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Bye.
Raj, here's my next question from you. So obviously we have a couple of players in the Ballon d'Or running as well, and one of them is Rodri out here in this picture. And apart from that, we have the likes of Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. So up until this point, or you can say before Euros, Bellingham was being touted as a favorite to win the Ballon d'Or. So do you think that the result of this Euros particularly changes any Ballon d'Or ranking, or will it change its outcome, actual outcome, and Rodri will win it?
Yeah, personally, I do think that the outcome of this tournament its impact on the outcome of the Ballon d'Or. I personally believe that Rodri should win it because he has been consistent throughout the season and has played most of the games, I believe, and hasn't missed a lot of games as well. Bellingham was good, especially during the first half of the season. He was scoring a lot of goals, and Vinicius Jr. then joined him, and obviously they won the Champions League. But Rodri has been consistent throughout the season. He won the Premier League, and yeah, and he also had a pivotal role in Spain's Euro win. So I do believe that Rodri should get the Ballon d'Or trophy.
Okay, okay. So Muqtada Faraz believes that Rodri should be winning Ballon d'Or. Personally, I have the same opinion. I mean, Rodri has had the greatest impact for Manchester City and even Spain as well. Because honestly, I don't see Spain winning this Euros without Rodri. As simple as that. But here's one question from you. This is slightly off topic, not entirely. So we constantly, not constantly, we often get to hear that the Real Madrid players they have insane amount of PR. I mean, the likes of Vinicius, Bellingham, and even lately Danny Carvajal, he is also getting shout outs for Ballon d'Or winner as well. So do you think this claim is true? The Real Madrid players they get extra amount of PR or extra amount of like shout outs?
I mean, if we look historically and we go back to the early 2000s when Perez took over, his main aim with Real Madrid was to brand Madrid into a club that attracted like big names. So you had the likes of Audi, Nivea, and like big brands coming in and sponsoring the club. So that most definitely reshaped the overall perception, the way that, it actually, I wouldn't just say that it rebranded Real Madrid. I would say that it was a step in the right direction by rebranding football clubs as a whole, where you could have football clubs, you could have players who could be used outside of the footballing world to promote other things. So I think most definitely Madrid has a very big impact. They have a very big presence within the world outside of football. So I think they have a very good PR. They most definitely attract the right kind of attention. And I think that does ultimately, because the Ballon d'Or is, at the end of the day, it is an award. And with any awards, with anything, be it the Emmys or the Golden Globes or anything, you need good PR in order to make that award successful, because that adds to the value of that particular award, be it any sport, any field whatsoever. So I think with the PR that Madrid has, that most definitely does impact it. I'm not entirely sure how much it actually does impact, but I can't take it away and say that, you know what, no, it's just solely based on the player's performance. It is most definitely also something that has to do with the overall PR image of the club as well.
Okay, okay. So Fraz, this is the last question for the podcast, and this is from you. So obviously Gareth Southgate has resigned, and now for the timing, we have a couple of candidates who are in the running. Obviously, there's no official news, but still we are hearing rumors that okay, these can be the possible successors, and they are the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Graham Potter, and then we have Eddie Howe as well. And then lately, I even heard the name of Pep Guardiola. Nofil mentioned that he might as well take over. But there's this one thing, there's this debate in some circles that should England hire a non-English coach, or should they hire strictly an English coach? So do you think that this is the right approach to hire a strictly English coach, or do you think that they should be looking at other nationalities as well for the coaching job? And one more thing, that do you think that any of the possible candidates as in that are named, the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Eddie Howe, or do you think that non-English managers, they are better than English managers, the possible ones that are available at this point in time?
Is that question from me?
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, last and
I can also pitch
for
in
the
as
last
there's
question,
no strict. Uh,
yeah, right now, as we were all offline, Klopp was linked to the USA job, but he said no, and that he's on a break from football right now. So I don't really see him going to the uh, the England job. I guess if you see the English managers, Graham Potter is right now free, and he he could get the job. And lastly, as you just mentioned, whether the English managers are better than the non-English managers, but I wouldn't agree on that one because I believe non-English managers have changed the way the English Premier League uh, is currently ongoing. The likes of Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, even though there are good English managers as well, like Eddie Howe and Graham Potter. But I believe if a non comes in, then they'll be able to utilize the talent pool that England right now has more properly than an English manager.
okay. And Muktada, would you like to add something out here?
I absolutely would. I think it's all about finding the right mentality as opposed to finding like an English versus a non-English manager. It's about finding that, because Nofil made a very valid point that they need a manager that can be a bit more aggressive in his approach when it comes to his style of managing and his style of like play when it's actually executed. Because the English squad, they most definitely lack it. So they most definitely could benefit from the likes of someone like Klopp or Pep, because they have been known to deliver. Their style of managing is a bit more aggressive in comparison to someone like Gareth Southgate. And I think that it is very, very important that you find a manager that is able to connect every single player and is able to basically have a single mentality that is being executed on the pitch. So that is very, very important. And then you most definitely need someone that can put everybody in their place, make sure that they're falling in line and they're, doing what needs to be done. So someone with a very aggressive approach, someone who is very driven by outcomes will most definitely benefit the squad with like having experienced and good youngsters. So most definitely, yes.
Okay. So thank you boys for your output, for your ideas. So here I just have a number of quick facts that are associated with this final match of the Euros itself. So England was able to put in 100 successful passes, and that is their fewest total output as compared to the previous lower that was in 2009 against Ukraine, and that was 98. So just as you were talking about Gareth Southgate or Nofil talk about that, on the biggest of stages, he haven't been able to deliver. And this happened right in the very final match against Spain, and that tells us more about how short-sighted or maybe not doing enough on a stage where you're supposed to deliver a trophy. And similarly, the 100 successful passes was England's fewest in the first half of a major tournament match since the Euro 2000. And the last time it was 96 versus Germany in Euro 2000, as I said. So, Mukta, coming back towards your point once again, that you talked about mentality. So, again, if my country is playing a major final, okay, let's say Euros final or a Copa America final or a World Cup final, personally, I wouldn't want by any means to make such records or such claims, because obviously this is horrendous. I mean, if it's a group match or a quarterfinal or semi-final, again, maybe I could accept it. But in a final match, if we are coming up with such stats, then it's horrendous. I mean, then definitely something was lacking out there. And then coming towards the next stat, that Lamine Jamal, the young prodigy of Spain, he was able to score 4 assists, and that equals the record. And the last time the 4 assist record, that was in the 1980s in the European Championship. And then there's this another stat in which De La Fuente has won 3 European Championships, one under 19, under 21. They were in 2015, 2019 respectively, and now finally in 2024 with Spain's national team. So, Mukhtar, to some extent, this validates your point that there has to be correct mentality. And when we talk about mentality, if there's a manager who has won it at lower levels, at under 15, under 20, and 21, then definitely he knows what it takes to win at the biggest stage. So Gareth Southgate wasn't able to win any tournament at junior levels. And coming towards the next stat, Spain becomes the first European nation to win 7 matches at a major international tournament. That is now once again a great achievement within itself. I mean, winning back-to-back games, and the other team that has been able to do so, it's Brazil, the 2002 version, the World Cup that they won. In that edition, Brazil was able to win all 7 of their matches. And then there's this one good stat for the English golden boy as well, the latest English golden boy, Jude Bellingham. He is the youngest player in the history of UEFA Euro and FIFA World Cup to make 15 appearances across the 2 competitions. So definitely this is a good point. And obviously we all know that moving forward, Jude Bellingham is going to be the one name who is pretty much going to be touted as the savior of England, probably the best player, or you can say the next Beckham. And once again, another unwanted stat for England, Gareth Southgate has become the first manager in UEFA European Championship to lose back-to-back championships. And lastly, there's one more stat on Lamine Jamal. He becomes the youngest player to appear in either a UEFA Euro or FIFA World Cup final, aged 17 years and 1 day. Previously, it was Pele, who I guess featured in 1986 World Cup at an age of 17 years and 96 days. Again, Lamine Jamal was 17 years and 1 day. So with that being said, huge amount of congratulations to all the Spanish fans out there who are watching, and just enjoy the trophy. And I hope this Spanish side, consisting of plenty of young talent, including the likes of Pedri, Gavi, Nico, I hope this side goes miles ahead and achieves many more trophies. And as for England and English fans, I hope that they find a worthy successor for Gareth Southgate, who is finally able to play the attacking football or the modern day football that we have been longing to see, and especially the one that the current crop of English players deserves. With that being said, I would like to close this podcast. So thank you so much, boys, for joining and giving us your time. Thank you, Muktada. Thank you, Fraz. And for viewers, don't forget to subscribe our channel, Sports Banter. And thank you so much for watching once again. And goodbye. See you all in the next one.
Perfect.